You know, Skylanders Spyros Adventure was released when I was a kid, and it was a huge part of my childhood in 2011. Yet I'm still getting comments that this Skylander's bad, or this Skylander's terrible, or this Skylander's unusable. And I've just come to the conclusion that you guys don't know how to use them. So I've taken this opportunity to grab all 32 Skylanders from Spyros Adventure and teach you guys how to use them. Let's get into it so you guys can start playing like good. And I can stop hearing your whining. So in Skylanders Spyros Adventure, we had 32 Skylanders. Let's meet them. From the magic element, we have Double Trouble, Wrecking Ball, Spyro, Voodood. Air element, Warnado, Lightning Rod, Sonic Boom, Whirlwind. Water element, Gill, Grunt, Zap, Wham-shell, and Slam Bam. Fire element, Eruptor, Ignitor, Flameslinger, and Sunburn. Earth element, Dino-rang, Terrafin, Prism Break, and Bash. Life element, Zook, Camo, Stump Smash, and Stealth Elf. Undead, Drobot, Ghost Roaster, Cynder, Chop Chop. Wait, Drobot, how'd you sneak in here? You're supposed to be over there. Undead, Ghost Roaster, Cynder, Chop Chop, and Hex. Tech, Boomer, Drill Sergeant, Trigger Happy, and Drobot. So now that I have all the Skylanders, and I have my 360, which sounds like it's gonna blow up, let's teach you guys a thing or two. Alright, so we're gonna start off with the tech element. We're gonna start off with Boomer. All the Spyros Adventure characters are pretty easy to use. It's a simple game. You get 3 buttons. Just figure it out. Alright, so you got a slam, you got your bombs, and then your bigger bombs. Path-wise, you're going to want to go this one, which is the left, which makes your bombs better, all of your projectiles better. The other one's a slam attack, and on the other path, you can like charge it up. It's whatever. It's like a one-time use. But on this path, just spam these. That's all you need to do. He's fast enough where you can run around, spam these. If you want to have some fun, drop some bombs, and then kick them at the enemies. Bye-bye, Mr. Sheep. You just have to face away from the enemy and then run back at it. Away, run back at it. Or else it spawns behind you. You got to run around. Then you can also go like this if you want to have some real fun. And then slam the ground. They all explode in one spot. So if you're fighting a boss, that's the most useful thing, while also just spamming these. Now on to one of the most easily hated Skylanders, but is actually totally OP up until boss fights. Drill Sergeant. Alright. So now you're just going to want to hold down the left trigger. It shoots out. These things do such low damage, but they add up over time while you're also spamming your main attack. That does not recharge fast. So I understand why people don't like him. I didn't either. So you're going to spam this, and right as those expire, you're going to want to use your bulldozer move. Watch. So this is what you're going to want to do. Let everything recharge. And then if enemies come, spam this. You just hold it down. Use your rockets. Charge. Rockets, charge. Rockets, charge. Over and over again. The bulldozer path is the chosen path. The other one's fine, all right? It's fun. Your rockets do more damage, and they split off into smaller rockets. But this one is the most damage fast. And also your speed and your bulldozer part lasts way longer on this path. And it does also massive damage. It cuts through them like butter. Now on to a fan favorite because he was in the starter pack, Trigger Happy. Now Trigger Happy is the king of just being simple. I do prefer the gun path. It bounces off walls, does decent damage, but you just spam it. It's all you do. And then you get this lovely move. It actually does a lot of damage, and you can actually press these buttons at the same time and go like this. He'll shoot 1 or 2 coins out, and then you can keep spamming. But usually you just want to spam this from afar. But if you get really far from someone or a boss is in like their recharging, you're just going to want to hold this. Does massive damage. Just don't let anybody get close to you. When someone gets close to you, go ahead and hit them with this. But most of you are going to want to be spamming this and these. Heavy, slow enemies, you're going to want to use this a lot more. And then run away, keep shooting. These things bounce off walls. So if an enemy was right in front of me right here, I would simply run at this wall, have these coins bounce right back at him until I can get enough space to either come back and use this or use this. But he's very simple and you can't go wrong. Just don't get stuck in this because it takes a second to get out of it and you will get hit. Now on to probably the spammiest Skylander ever created, Drobot. Now, a lot of people don't realize that you can use multiple abilities with almost every Skylander at once. So he has his classic lasers. These are the things that just explode the entire screen. But you can also throw in these at the same time without stopping your lasers. So hold down your laser button and just spam these. Sure, you can just run around and do this. It pauses you for a second to let them go. If you don't feel comfortable using them, you can't go wrong with just running around like this. But if enemies start to get a little close, these will do a little bit more damage. And then you do have this move. Just make sure you're not pointing at a wall, because then you're going to get kind of stuck like this, and it stops you. When you're flying with a normal dragon, they'll just kind of like go around corners. Not Drobot. He just crashes and burns. So make sure you're pointing somewhere. If I want to go over there and get away from enemies, he goes really fast. Click it off, and then just start using those eye lasers again. Really, you ain't even got to bother with these. These do all the damage. Now this is such an underrated Skylander because you just have to know how to use him and which path to go. Despite being called Dino-rang, do not go his boomerang path. Go his stonefish trap path. You get 4 of them at once, you get bonus armor, and also every time you defeat someone with a boomerang, they spawn a stonefish trap which does massive damage to whoever crosses over top of it. So basically, you have these, right? They shoot kind of slow. It's kind of Drill Sergeant syndrome right here. Shoots a little faster than Drill Sergeant. But then you have this. That's if enemies get close to you. But mostly you're just going to want to spam this. It does such massive damage and pops enemies up. And then as you do this, throw these. But keep running. Stay behind the wall. So the enemies will come at you running over these. And if they aren't fully killed by them, hit them with a boomerang or two. They create a trap taking out the next person. It's perfect. Now on to our Sharky boy, Terrafin. Now, you're going to want to go his punchy punch path. It's just the better of the bunch. It just is. Don't even bother with this move. It's such a waste of time. It freezes you in place, and these things do like nothing. So basically, if you have enemies over there, you're going to want to go underground, go over to them, use your splash damage using your main attack. Once you get over there, use the combo you unlocked to cover so much ground. If I can do it, there it is. It takes some getting used to. I'm using a tiny little Skylanders controller right now. On Xbox 360 is AAB. It is easily the best combo. You cover a ton of ground while also doing a ton of damage. Now, one of my personal least favorite from SSA doesn't mean he's bad. It's just one of my least favorite because he's more intricate and he's a little harder to use. Now, you are gonna want to stay far away from enemies with this guy because you're gonna want to spam your right trigger and just land these on as many enemies as you can and just keep spamming it. But when they get past your crystals and they are just too close to you and you can't hit them with these anymore, they are in between here and here, you're gonna want to just tap it because it doesn't last long and it makes you slower. So when you tap it, you're still running, but you're still doing damage. You just have to use your left stick to aim at someone and just tap it. Just tap it. But if they do get too close, you do have this ability right there. I'm used to using my left trigger, and I hate how the left trigger corresponds with the B button, which is totally across the controller. Terrible. But you're going to want to get this. It does slow you down. If that doesn't take them out, just run. Just run far away because sometimes it doesn't deal massive damage, so it won't take them out sometimes. So you just want to get away and use these crystals. These do massive damage, so you're going to want to rely on those the most. Now another considered spammy Skylander, mostly because of the roll move. Personally, I love the roll path, and it does great damage to small and medium enemies, and will mostly take them both out within a hit or two. But once you get big enemies or bosses, you're going to want to rely on your range attack. You can pop up these and then hit them. Pop up these and hit them. If you want to do more damage with your main attack, which is your swipe, go the other path. But I like the roll better because it allows you to go faster and farther and do more damage. But also you can roll up to enemies, do roll damage, swipe, make a trap, and also shoot it at them. That's 4 different attacks within a couple seconds, whereas just swiping doesn't add up to nowhere near that much damage. Now onto the fire element. We're starting off with the best of the fire element, Flameslinger. Now this is another one you're going to want to stay farther away from enemies because of his attacks. They do, I don't know, they do better at range. Sometimes they won't hit if enemies are too close. So I'm talking about this one. So basically you can use these at the same time as well. He's one of those Skylanders where you can do that. So you're going to spam his main attack and then also press that left trigger. So you're going to go main attack, which is A on Xbox. A, and then in between hitting A, hit your left trigger. So you can just damage whoever's in front of you so much, and then if they get close, go ahead and go in front of you and backwards. They're going to have to walk through the start and the finish of the fire while you're still shooting them. Then, if you want to have some fun, you can create one of these, and if that doesn't take them out, you can just shoot them. Now on to Sunburn. Definitely one of the trickiest of the bunch by far because you have to use his moves not how they're intended. Now, don't make the mistake I did and get the last upgrade. Do not get the last upgrade. It does a blast at the end of your dash, which stops your dash. And it is not good. It blows up, and then it takes a second to go back into a dash again, leading you to get hit. And the damage you do isn't worth it. So you're going to want to use this move as a damage to small medium enemies and evade move. Use your teleport move as the same thing. Small enemies easily taken out, no issue, but you're going to want to use it as an evade move, which is where it really shines, especially in boss fights. It makes it really easy to dodge. You just point at which one of these teleporters you want to go through, and you'll go through it. Other than that, you use your main attack, which I prefer the fire breath, but other people like the teleport. If you rely on the teleport more than the fire breath, go that path. You can't go wrong, but you will have to take some time to learn how to use him. Use evade. This does damage and evade. This is my main evade right here. I just like the dash, and then to get far away and then use this. I have another Sunburn where I didn't go the dash path, and that's the one I use typically. So typically I will dash and then use my fire breath, and then if someone gets too close, I will teleport somewhere else. Now on to Eruptor. You think big bad Eruptor, but he doesn't do massive damage. But I will tell you, you're gonna want to rely on this move and never use this one unless you just want to use it for fun, because it's absolutely trash. It doesn't do anything hardly other than a little bit of damage. But you're going to want to spam this as much as you can. You could just keep spawning these in, and they stick around. You can have like 2 at a time, which means like 6 different volcanoes shooting at once. And then as you're doing that, you could just spawn one where all the enemies are at and then keep shooting them. He's super easy and super spammy. You're just going to want to keep using these 2 attacks, and you'll be pretty safe. Now on to our last fire element, Ignitor. Now, Ignitor is a lot like Terrafin. If you like Terrafin, you'll probably like Ignitor. He has mostly combos, and you're going to want to rely on them. That's his worst combo. His main combo is his worst. So if you just hit A, it's fine. It does great damage, but it's fine. Leaves you a little bit vulnerable. His best ones are definitely the ones you unlock. That one gives you a ton of range on a combo. And then this one is for enemies when they get close. Other than that, your left trigger will control this, and once it turns purplish red, that's when you do the most amount of damage. I know he's not his Series 2, so he's not as good as he is in Giants, but he is still excellent if you just spam this, hit the enemies, and then you're going to want to hit them over and over again with some combos. I forgot about it because I never use this move. I just don't like it. You get stuck in that mode, and your body still takes damage. Now onto Undead, we have Cynder. Definitely overhated in my opinion. She has her flight ability, yeah, I think she gets like bonus speed or armor, but that's not an attack, so we're not really going to bother with it. It's more of a travel thing. Mostly you're going to want to literally go straight at the enemies and use your dash move that put ghosts on the field. And you can go ahead and use it twice if you want. It gets rid of some of the ghosts. Usually 2 of them hang behind. So you want to go through the enemies and then simply shock the enemies while also blowing up the ghosts. Super easy. Another 2-move Skylander. Now I know the path I chose is going to be controversial, but there's a reason for it. If you want the most out of Ghost Roaster, you're going to want to go this path. It makes you unbeatable nearly I say, in PvP mode. Makes you invisible. Yeah, you take damage over time, but literally they can't hit you. And you can heal yourself when you eat people. The thing is, all your moves remain great still. But you also, when you go into this mode, it shocks people. Yes, you can die in the home world, which is kind of crazy. But you're purely invisible. And then you can come out of it, do damage, go back invisible. Yeah, he's not one of the greatest, I know. But this is the most fun and useful way to use him. It allows you to use all of his moves really well, while also being really good. Now onto a fan favorite, Chop Chop. I do like Chop Chop, but he's nowhere near as good as he is in Giants. Don't bother with the shield move. It's useless in this game. It's just not very good. I'm going to tell you, if you want to use him to his best of abilities, don't use it. You're going to want to rely on your sword move. Sure, you can have some fun and even use this from afar. You can deal a little bit of damage when the enemies are still pretty far away. Then as they get closer, after you already hit them with that, you're going to want to rely on your sword. Your sword does everything for you. This is your worst one. Your main combo is your worst. It puts you in one spot unless you're facing one enemy or a boss. That's the only time I would use it. Other than that, you have that one, which that's probably the worst one, I'm gonna be honest. And the best one is easily this one. Just aim in the enemy's direction and then go spinning at them. Easily the best, but don't use the shield move, rely on the sword. Now on to arguably one of my favorite undeads. Hex, super underrated. She has her bones, she has her main attack, and then she has this spell she'll cast. Takes a little bit of time, but there it is. All right, the path I chose is here. It's the right path. Makes these things actually do damage, and the Skull Rain takes less time and does more damage. So basically how you're going to want to use her is you can shoot from afar all you want, right? Everybody's going to spam that. But if you're actually in a bind and you don't want to get hit, you can use these as an attack. It is pretty much like Prism Break's slam attack. You can just make them appear, and then even you can hide behind them. Here, it's better from this angle. And shoot, your things go through them. But the biggest purpose of these is to protect you while you do this. But don't wander off. If you cast these, don't go wandering over here because the enemies are going to go right around your bones. When really, you want to stay just a little far away, right about here. So they'll try to go through the bones, taking damage, and then eventually getting taken out by the spell. And as the spell is coming down, which you can release at any point, you can just shoot the remaining enemies with your main attack, whatever it's called. Hex Bolt? I don't know. What is she? Scarlet Witch? Now on to the main man, Mr. Spyro. Spyro's very easy. He's got 2 moves. A little bit more in-depth than Cynder because he actually kind of has a use for his flying move, as you can slam. So left trigger is to start flying, and then you can do this big slam. It actually does do a lot of damage, so if you want to use it on smaller or medium enemies, it will take them out probably. Mostly you're going to want to use your flames, but if you want to do some damage to a brute who's farther away or a large group of small enemies, go ahead and let that thing fly. Go ahead and charge it up, but typically it takes longer, super long time to charge it up. And even when it's charged up, you could have done more combined damage with your main attack. It shoots faster, shoots 3, it's just better. Speaking of shooting 3, this is the path I went. Exploding fireballs, a shield, and also you get to charge it up. So the soul gem is to do the earth pound. So typically you're going to want to come up to enemies, pound, and just keep shooting. And you stay in fly mode. So you're super fast still. You can just keep shooting. He's super easy. He's probably one of the easiest to use. You just spam his attacks pretty much. They all do something. Now on to probably the coolest, or I almost said tech, magic element Skylander, Voodood. Alright, now the path I chose is different than everybody else probably. I do not care for the combos on the other path. This one, the tripwires are better. You get kind of a protection with this electric feedback. When they hit you, they also get hit. And then also, your axe electrocutes things nearby, so this makes destroying structures easier and also dealing damage to enemies. Now, when you hit an enemy, when you hit them, it'll shock whoever's around them, dealing damage as well. So you have your main combo still, which is mostly the only thing you'll use combo-wise. I mean, it's the only one you got. So this, you could just spam, but if you want to deal some heavy damage, go ahead and do that. It does great damage. But then you have these tripwire. You can have 2 active, and then you can hit them. And then now they deal more damage. But the cool thing about him is he kind of has a speed move. You can, if I can use it, hello, there you go. And you can, I think you can use the tripwires, yeah. I rehashed that in my brain. I was like, you can totally use these tripwires as walls for travel. You could spawn it over there and teleport on over to it. It's not really a teleport, but you can go to wall. And if there is like a long wall like this, you can kind of just angle at it and just keep traveling really fast. But mostly you will rely on this, followed by your tripwires. That's going to be your damage output. And then for travel and like evading enemies, you're going to want to use your reachability. I don't even know what it's called because it's kind of stupid. Now on to Drobot. Alright, this is one where you're not going to rely on your main attack as your damage output. You're going to want to rely on your little minions. I like the minion path way better. In Giants, go the other path. But in this game, that's a different video. But in this game, you're going to want to go this path. You're going to go ahead and spawn a 3 in. You can have 3. And then you can shock them. And then they get all big. Maybe only 1 gets big. I thought it was all 3. Nope, there you go. You just have to hit them separately. Now they do massive damage. They'll jump at enemies. So while they jump at enemies and you just keep casting these guys, you can cast as many as you want. They just eliminate after 3 and they explode. But if enemies get close to you, you can always use this. It'll cause a little knockback and pretty good damage. Other than that, you do have your beam. It doesn't lock onto people really well at all. You kind of have to keep moving. But if they get too close, go ahead and spawn a couple of these in. I very rarely rely on this move because it puts you in one spot for a good couple seconds. When really you could just spawn another couple of these guys in right behind you and they'll take out the enemy that was following you. Now on to the last magic element, Wrecking Ball. Now I'm not going to lie, he's probably the worst of the bunch, but you are going to want to go, I think it's the tongue path. Yep. Makes everything better, goes farther. You can pick up now food and power-ups, and it will heal you. Like if I go over to this thing, hold on. Whoop. It heals me. Even though it's gold, it heals me. And I don't think there's anything left in there. But anything will heal you. You can eat small enemies, it'll heal you. I really don't use his speed move because it puts you in a pause. It also takes you probably way too far. Even in speedrunning, it's not good because it puts you at such a pause. But you have your burp move, which you can use it as like a little projectile like this. Projectile, there we go. And then you can also charge it up, which it's fine, whatever. If you want to walk up to like a group of small enemies and then release it, fine, because then you can probably eat them and then heal if you really need to. But that's about it. Basically, you're going to want to just spam the tongue move as much as you can until enemies get really close because it only hits one enemy at a time. Then you could try to throw this out here. And if you have too many on you, use this. And if you have way too many on you that aren't dying, get out. Now on to my favorite of the life Skylanders from Spyros Adventure. We have Zook. I know it's a hot take, but you have these little bramble things you can bring up. You can have 2, I think. Yeah. 2. And then here's another one where you can spam 2 moves at once. So you're going to want to use your left trigger to spawn that. And then your main attack shoots right through it. So you're just going to spam them both together. And it'll do massive damage. Your thing goes away. Enemies, it doesn't deal damage to enemies. And it's not a wall either. It just slows them down to get to you. So you got to be careful. It's best if you put 2 like this. and then stay behind it, and then keep shooting. And then while they're trying to make their way through here, just absolutely kill them. Now on to Camo. He takes a little bit of practice to understand and use. Go the vine path. At least that's what I do, and I find a lot of effectiveness with it. So you have this. Look at how much that covers. It is crazy good for boss fights because you can spawn this and keep shooting. Then also, if you hold down 3 times, you get a permanent shield. Permanent until an enemy hits it. It'll deal a little bit of damage like a normal attack would. And then you get 3 of them. There. And then it just heals you, and you can keep shooting. Now, your watermelons are fine. You can let them... There you go. I was going to say let them get as big as they get, but I guess that's as big as they get in this game. I'm used to seeing them in Giants where they just cover you. But I don't really use that move because on the other path, it kind of closes you in there. Whereas this path leaves you vulnerable, so I really stay away from it. That's why I didn't know really what it looked like, because I stay away from it. So basically, you're going to want to spam at enemies and use your vines. You can use these both at the same time, by the way. Look at him shoot behind him. Look at his face. Look how stupid he looks. But it is crazy effective. Now kind of on to someone who's a lot like Ignitor and Terrafin. Someone with combos. But you're actually going to want to go the combo path just as you did for Terrafin. So the combo path also gives you both the combos in one upgrade, which is great. And then your Mega Nut gets better. Yes, it's called a Mega Nut. So basically, you have your main attack, which is fine. It's probably the worst of his moves, I'm going to be honest. Because you have this, that's your Mega Nut. And then you have this little nut. So, big one, throw it. Big one, throw it. Big one, throw it. That is how you're going to be effective with Stump Smash in this game. Other than that, you can spawn it, hit it, and that's if enemies get too close to you, it will deal great damage. And then if that doesn't take them out, just hit them a few times with your main attack and use your main combo, I'm going to be honest, for enemies that are close to you. And then you can kind of use this as like a speed move, I guess, or evade even. Because it'll just take you right through the enemies. And I don't know. We got to do some research if this is faster than just walking with Stump Smash. I don't know, but it might be just to keep spamming his combo. That it would be AAX for Xbox users. Alright, easily top 3 in the game. Stealth Elf. Alright, she is absolutely broken in this game. The only thing that kind of hurts her is her health and how fast it goes down. Like a lot of Skylanders have the similar amount of health, but for some reason she feels like she dies a lot faster. So you're going to look at this and kind of shake your head. I went the Scarecrow path. Because SSA doesn't have a difficulty... Whoa, what was that word? Difficulty slider. So the game's pretty easy. So yes, you can just mash your main attack all you want, but it'll only get you so far. You'll struggle with the Chaos boss fight on that path. You may be able to solo run it, no problem. Yeah, sure, I bet you can. But it's easier to actually use these, which are still absolutely fantastic. You still have the combo. It's great. But now you can use these. These are so good for the final Chaos boss fight. It's not even funny. When I did a live stream, I forget what live stream it was, but literally you just walk up to Chaos and leave these behind, and they just constantly deal damage to him. 3 of them, you put him right in the middle. If he was right here, you just go right there and you get out. And then while he's doing whatever he's doing, it gives you time to dodge everything else that's going on while they're doing damage for as long as they are. You also have your spin move, which is speedrunner's dream right here. And then your main attack, which still does amazing damage. Now on to our water element. Starting with Zap. Alright. His main attack is just shooting bolts. Just 3 bolts at a time. But it doesn't really matter that they're 3 at a time because it recharges very quickly. Unlike Drill Sergeant. Anyhow, I still love Drill Sergeant, but I wish his rocket shot like this. Anywho, you have this speed move, which is the ideal one. And then you have this one, which shoots a projectile. So for enemies far away, you can start off by just shooting this at them and then spamming this. Then if they stick around, typically what happens is you're going to want to bury yourself with this. So they have to walk all the way through this. Let's say the enemies are over here, right? You're going to want to just go over here and kind of zigzag it. So they're forced to walk through it. And then you electrify it. So now they're getting shock damage while you're also just shooting them with this. It is unbeatable. It's great. Once they get through it, you do the same thing. You get away. You shoot them again. Now onto a hard-to-find Skylander these days, Wham-shell. Now, Wham-shell is a lot like Prism Break in a sense. Okay, so your left trigger brings down these guys. You have to hold it. The longer you hold it, the longer they stay. But typically, you just want to bring it and then let go. Right to when they come out of the earth, but they're still going to shock. Because if you just tap it, it's just going to do this. And it's not going to work. Or you want to hold it down for a little bit, and you could just keep spamming this. It does massive damage. But if they're too close, sure, you can use your mace, whatever it's called. And then for fun, you can use your range ability, but it's really not good. You can charge it if you really want to. It's not great. But this is mainly what you're going to want to rely on, just as you did with Prism Break. Now on to, I would say, the greatest Skylander in this game, and I have lots of reasons for it. Starting off with, you can use all of his moves at once. Okay, starting off, you got your jetpack. Look how fast. You are so fast. First off, yeah, not stealth elf fast, but it's easier to control than a stealth elf. Like, I couldn't spell my name with stealth elf. I could spell my name with Grunt's jetpack. Like, the agility of it is what makes it so fast. It's quick. Quick's a better word. All right, so while using this on the hose path, by the way, hose path is the way better path. Okay, we're going to face this way so you guys can see. Look how far that shoots. It shot off the screen when I first started. Look at that. And now while holding both triggers, spam the main attack. And then you're getting a bunch of these explosive starfish to come out and just deal massive damage. If you guys have ever seen an SSA live stream where I used Gill Grunt, you can see he is easily the easiest and best Skylander to use in this entire game. And it's not even close. You don't even have to use his main attack. You just use it when you're using the hose, and it does way more. Now on to our last water element Skylander, and the only Skylander in the game where all of their combos are excellent. So here's the path I went. It's the punchy path. It's fantastic. Gives you more armor while also giving you more damage and combos. Okay, so first you have this. You can freeze enemies with it, and they get stuck inside, so it allows one of the enemies to be completely immobilized for however long you really want until it stops, and then you can actually go up to them and punch it while they're in there, and it'll deal more damage. So for your attacks, you have your punches. That's your main combo. This is the heavy damage one, and then you have a travel one, which is great for large groups of enemies. If you're focusing on one enemy, this one is the best, and then a few enemies, your main one's the best because it has a little bit of splash damage. This one has the best single hit damage, and this one does damage to everybody around it. And then, of course, you have a nice little evade speed move. Doesn't last long, but it is pretty good still. Now on to our final element, the air element. Starting off with Lightning Rod. Lightning Rod has two great paths, so you really can't make a mistake here. But personally, I like this one better. It's the whole Grand Lightning one. It's just more fun and more damage. This is going to be your main attack, which is the right trigger. Super easy. Lasts quite a while, too. It kind of has Prism Break syndrome, where you end up using a non-main attack as your main attack. You use this a lot. As they get closer, you can use these. They just shoot really slow, kind of like Drill Sergeant-esque. And then really close actually does really great damage is this. So mostly, I actually only rely on my triggers with Lightning Rod. Right trigger for this, and then when they get close, use this. And it actually sticks around for quite a bit. It's like the same length for both. Yeah, I have nothing to say. He's literally great. He's got range, he's got mid-range and long range. He's got everything. He's just great. Now onto a Skylander that I hated in the past because I was dumb, and I'm very picky, and I still hate it, but I don't hate her. So the flight just bothers me because it looks dumb. I don't know why. Something about the wings drives me nuts. But mostly, you're going to want to go the cloud path. It's the way better path for every game you play with her. So you're going to want to summon some clouds right around the enemies, and it's just going to do absolutely massive damage. And while it does, you just hit them with the main attack as well. But try not to hit the clouds like I just did, because the clouds go away. So you can just do massive damage like that. And they keep chaining together, which is great. So if you needed to reposition them, you can do it and never break the chain. So basically, you could just keep relying on the clouds. But of course, you're not going to want to do that. You can like spawn that one over there, create a new one, shoot people over here. But the clouds are everything you need with her. Okay, now we're on to one of the biggest damaging Skylanders in this game, but also one of the most boring to use because I'm not joking. To be successful, ignore using the babies. Ignore them. Sure, they can add a little bit of damage for you, but mostly use your flight. It's the first one where flight is really useful because you travel faster and have more armor. And then spam the scream attack. Just keep doing it. This is all you have to do. Your poor A button is going to get so worn down, but it is so worth it. She does massive damage, and if you get a large group of enemies, just charge it up and let it go. Now on to our final Skylander, and easily the hardest to master. A lot of people think he's trash because he's very discombobulated and there's a lot going on. And depending on what path you take, there's either way, there's a lot going on. So this is the path I took. I took the left path here, which makes your main attack better. It makes you have projectiles when you go into tornado mode, and also a huge, massive slam that does crazy damage when you are in your little tornado mode. All right, so for your attacks, you have your main attack, which is crazy that there's an evade move as your main attack. So pretty much, you have no reason to get hit. I'm going to be honest. If you're using this, and purely this, you have no reason to get hit unless you go directly into an enemy and you get stuck here. But you just have to make sure that when you're using this and you're spamming it like crazy, you can't just rely on the left stick to take you around because like it's not going where I'm pointing right now. You have to make sure when you stop that your body turns. Like if I go this way, I want to go backwards, you have to make sure your whole body turns. If not, if I just move the left stick back, like the left stick's back right now, but my body did not change because I'm just spamming this. So make sure your body turns before you spam your attack again. Okay, on to the next. You have these moves with, I think it picks up an enemy and kind of twirls them around doing damage. It actually does pretty good damage. So you're going to want to spam these while you deal with other enemies. But the best thing about him is this move right here. Now this path allows him to have 3 projectiles. So basically how I like to use it is I will attack the small enemies with this, no issue, take them off. And then when the medium enemies come, spawn these guys, go ahead and use those on them. But for anybody else on the screen, you become this guy, and then you're going to want to aim at whoever you're going to want to take out, shoot these guys, and then to anybody near you, hold down your main attack and do this massive slam, dash to get away immediately, and do it again. This is literally what it looks like when I play in Tornado. Get away, get back in the tornado, shoot back at them, go back really into the heart of the fire right there, and make sure you do damage to as many people as you can. So that is it for this video. Hopefully you guys learned something. Hopefully you guys can use some of the information in your own gameplay experiences, and hopefully you guys can turn out like me and enjoy and know how to use every Skylander so you can consider every Skylander good. That doesn't mean all Skylanders are great. Some Skylanders are clearly better than others, as you can tell in this video, and also just gameplay-wise, you can tell the damage numbers. It makes a difference, but at least, hopefully, this video showed you how to use every Skylander successfully and be the most successful while using them, while also having fun. Obviously, you're going to run into some issues like the Chaos boss fight. That's literally the most challenging thing about this game. Some characters struggle because they're close-range Skylanders, and it's a little harder. So, good luck. Let me know how it goes. Let me know if you learned something in the comments, and leave a like and maybe even subscribe. Help save Skylands. I'm trying. I'm a soul man over here. But no, I'm serious. Hopefully you guys learned something from this video. I appreciate you guys and the support towards the channel. And be on the lookout, because clearly you guys don't know how to use characters from this game either. So a video on that's coming soon. So thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys soon.